lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we are bringing balance to this world, one household at a time. And guess what? We're doing it today with my special guest, Lawrence C. Harris. How are you today, Lawrence?
I am doing incredible.
I'm so glad that you're here. We did a prayer backstage, and let me just say, I'm so grateful. So grateful. Listen, everyone, as you're grabbing your virtual seats, we did a prayer backstage, and actually it brought me to tears because I was thinking a young person, 20 years old, and already knowing his purpose, his gifts, his talents that God is expecting him to use to salt this earth. Man, think about it. If we knew that back, at least me, I'm in my 50s now, but if I knew that back even in my 20s, how much further along we could be, right? I actually thought I did know it. So I was a leader as well, but I just really admire everything that I've learned about you, Lawrence, and I'm looking forward to our time together.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it too.
All right. So everyone grab your virtual seats. Let us know where you're visiting in from, and make sure you take a moment to tag your friends and your family, your coworkers, and just invite everybody you know to experience today's episode. I'm tagging other show hosts because I believe that every person that I know that would be a talk show host would be honored to have you on their platform. So that's what you see me over here doing. I'm all over.
I appreciate it.
I'm working as your little agent over here, right? But make sure that people know about Lawrence C. Harris. All right, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and kick today's episode off. Lawrence C. Harris is a speaker and author who talks directly about what it feels like to grow up overwhelmed, lost, and trying to figure yourself out while life is still happening. He speaks from lived experiences, including childhood trauma, early responsibilities, and uses that to even be able to connect with students who feel like they're carrying just too much on their own. His message is built around one core idea that your past can explain you. Yes, it can explain you, but it doesn't have to define you or decide your future. So everyone, join me in welcoming none other than Lawrence C. Harris.
Thank you. That was a great introduction.
No, I'm about to give you a whole presidential. That's how I introduce a president, right? So I'm like, Lawrence C. Harris, and I'm so glad that you're here today. I want people to really get to know you on this episode. This show is about how people are balancing different aspects of their lives and what they've had to overcome, Lawrence, to become who they are today. So as we're starting at just 20 years old, you've already become an author. You've become a speaker and an advocate. What moment, in your opinion, really helped you realize that your personal pain was going to be somebody else's victory, healing?
There are a lot of moments I could name, but one that I always go back to was when I was 15 years old. And at that point, my mental health was in the gutter, was getting severely bullied until the age of like 12, got kicked out the house at 13, childhood abuse. It was a mess. And being the oldest of all of my siblings, naturally you want to protect everyone, but not really much you can do.
Right.
So as I'm looking at myself, my face is all puffy. I'm stressed out. I got acne all over the place. I just said, like, this is my life now. Like, this is where I am. Mm-hmm. This is how I feel about myself. Like, I took a very honest look at how I'd been living my life. And
Right.
how I was pushing away people who were trying to help me. And I said, okay, I know the path I'm on right now. I have to get off of this somehow. So through things like therapy and realizing that I can't be the only one,
Right.
I started making YouTube videos and TikToks, and a
Okay.
couple of people said, hey, I relate to you. You
Mm.
know, we're all going through something. So even though at the start I wasn't really giving advice, I was just saying, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. And seeing other people relate to it
Mhm.
helped me to know that at least I'm helping them feel encouraged.
Good.
And then from there, it built up into what I do now.
So when you really started out, you weren't even setting out to be this advocate per se. You were just trying to say, this is what I'm dealing with, which is a whole rack of stuff. And by me overcoming what I'm dealing with, hopefully it will inspire somebody else on their journey. But it wasn't that you were set out necessarily to be this inspirational person per se.
Yeah, it was. And even at the start, I was still in the middle of dealing with it. So it wasn't me speaking from the other side. It was me speaking from the inside. I'm like, I'm not at the end of the road. I'm on step 2, speaking to people at step 1 to let them know that it can get better. I don't know how exactly at that time,
Right,
but I
right.
know that it's a little bit better for me now than it was before, and
Okay.
it just evolved.
So you're that leader technically, and I think I'm that leader too. So we're very similar in this regard. I'm the leader that's like, hey, come with me and go on this journey. And as I'm learning and growing and developing, I'm reaching to say, this is what I've learned, and let's apply it together and make the best of it. Is that kind of how you are?
Yeah, to bring it back to an example a lot of people on your show would relate to, the story of Moses. He wasn't leading the people after he got out of Egypt. He said, hey, we're all in Egypt. I know a little bit of something,
Right.
and we're all going to march forward.
Mm.
And then when he gets to the Red Sea and everyone's like, wait, so you led us to a giant ocean?
Right.
He's like, we're going to figure it out somehow. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. And they did.
I'm sorry. My mom is telling me something.
I understand.
She's saying something is happening on what you may have to start over. The show is repeating over and over on the first.
Facebook is just saying it was a mess. It was a mess.
Oh, okay. Let's see if it's fixed.
Okay.
Hold on one second. My mom is saying there's a glitch on Facebook, and I don't want it to be.
All right, let me check to make sure that that's not happening on the other platforms too.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mom. That's why you have to have a great people surrounding you to make sure, because you won't know unless you have people that tell you the truth, right? That's why I love being surrounded by people that
Instagram says live, but I'm not seeing it on there.
Okay. So right now it's showing live on mine too. So I think it's okay, Mom. Double check yours again. Okay. All right. And hey, that's again the beautiful part of this show is we're balancing our lives in real time, which I love that, because everything in life is not just picture perfect. And so when we paint that picture that that's the case, then we're really actually lying, because that's not. You may have to do 50 takes and different things, but at the end of the day, life is not a picture perfect situation. We're always striving to be better. So I interrupted you. Please carry on.
Oh no, I was just saying that I wanted to lead people while showing them, here what I'm going through today,
right?
Here what I'm dealing with, so that you know that you don't have to be perfect. You know, we have a lot of people who portray my life is all figured out and my life is so perfect and my life is so grand. But seeing the realness is what makes people know that I don't have to be perfect. I just need to be a little bit better than I was yesterday.
Yes, 1% better. That's why it's a whole book that I talked about and I've read, and it's talking about just getting 1% better. Is that good? Thank you, Mom. Okay. 1% better than we were the day before. So that's a blessing if we can not worry about always competing against other people or comparing ourselves to other people, but literally knowing that I'm just attempting to be a better version of me every single day. And what can I do to be the best version of me? So I love your philosophy, Lawrence. And I believe that that's going to help a lot of other people heal. Anybody that's tuning in right now, we're talking with Lawrence C. Harris today. He's only 20 years old, and he has a story to tell, one that really can help change the trajectory of your children's lives. So make sure your children, your young people watch this. If someone met you today, because I'm just meeting you virtually and I'm already just head over heels. I've already invited you to be a Freestyle Friday expert and everything. We know that. Okay. So if someone met you today, they may see this confidence, this person of great confidence and of purpose, but who was Lawrence before all of this happened? And what really was that time that transformed you to be who you are today?
Well, if someone met me when I was younger, they would have saw somebody who couldn't even keep their room clean. Like my room was filthy. It was insecure, shy, nervous, afraid to go outside. Just all around, my life looked like it looked like what you would expect of someone who went through the things I went through.
Okay.
It was just chaos. I was desperate for validation. I was chasing after people who didn't want me. I was trying to fit in everywhere. I didn't know who I was. That's the best way to explain it.
Wow. So the people that you knew, and so because I want to know how young people think, because I know how older people think, because I'm one of them. When we sense that someone does not want us and we're still chasing the situation or chasing the person, I'm wondering, at a younger age, did you realize that someone did not want you and you still kept putting yourself in the space of being rejected?
Yeah, because on the surface, what it looks like is someone thinking, I'm going to win this person over. I'm going to make them like me. I'm going to grow on them. You know, they just don't realize how good I am. That's how it looks on the surface. But underneath that, what's really going on is you have a void of self-worth and you're trying to validate yourself that if I get them to like me, then I'm good enough. If I get this relationship, then I'm loved. If I get, and we don't just do this with people, we do it with money, we do it with status, we do it with cars, degrees, grades. I'm good enough if I have this thing outside of me. So when I was younger, I was trying to make myself feel good enough using people, places, and things outside of me.
Wow. Just making yourself feel like you were valued based on somebody else's validation of you, not at all based on anything that was coming from internal. So you needed this outside validation to know your worth. Is that what I'm hearing at that time of your life?
Yeah. And when I would get it, I was, whether I couldn't consciously speak to it at the time, but looking back, I realized that when you're trying to fill that void with someone or something outside of you, it's never enough. Like, have you ever seen someone who they have 12 cars, but they only can drive one? Or you have a house with 10 bedrooms, you only sleep in one.
Right.
You think I'll be happy when I have money. Then you get it, and you always need more. It's like
always, never satisfied.
It's a void that can only be filled by going inside. But when you go inside, you realize that it's pretty dark in there.
That's good. That's, I think that is very similar then to adults as well. I know as a believer in Christ, I believe wholeheartedly that God has equipped me with everything that I need within myself to be able to know that I'm loved and valued and needed by God to do the different things that he's assigned me to do on this earth. But then there are times when I notice, and you may be able to speak to this, Lawrence, that because I know the love that I have for people, I want to pour that love on people. And everybody don't want that. It's like, get away from me. I don't want that. That's what I've sensed in my life in some regards. So it's not always, for at least an older person, it's not always some romantic interest or anything, but it's just the fact that I genuinely love people and I want the best interest to happen for any people that I encounter, you know? Is that similar for the younger generation as well in your case?
It is, because a lot of the issues that young people deal with, they're paralleled in older people too. So for us, it's like you could think of a friendship.
Right.
I really want to be friend with this person, or I really want this girl, this guy to date me, but they just don't like me and I don't know why.
Right.
And you're sitting there trying to figure out why they don't want you, but maybe you're just not their cup of tea.
Not that cup of tea.
Like you have to respect that.
Right. And it doesn't mean then that anything's wrong with you. And so from a young person's perspective, how do you encourage young people to understand that just because someone does not want to be with you does not mean there's anything wrong with you?
Well, one example I give them is, do you like ice cream? And then they might say, oh yeah, I do. Okay, well, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Vanilla. So is chocolate ice cream bad? No, it's not bad. Right. Well, because you don't like chocolate ice cream, you must hate it. And you make this whole story up in your head about how because that person doesn't like you, they must, like, you must be this terrible person, when really they just don't like you. It's nothing personal. It's just some people like people who are more of a party lifestyle. Right. Other people like people who want to go read a book. Maybe you're just not their cup of tea.
Right. I love the analogy, because you're right. So if somebody's out trying to party every day, every moment of the day, and I'm over here like, okay, are we going to the movies? Are we going to the library? Are we going to a museum? Or what, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, this is too much. So finding your people, if that makes sense, I think is a beautiful thing that you just described in that analogy. So this is really great. Listen, everybody, you may have your own questions and comments and things that we're going to be talking throughout this time with Lawrence, and feel free to ask your own questions as well. But your story includes childhood abuse, PTSD, and autism. So I wanted you to even just speak more about that. Was there even a moment when you decided that even some of those experiences would no longer define you, but refine you, make you more? Oh, yeah.
I actually wrote an entire book on what CPTSD feels like. So for those who are unfamiliar with it, think of it as you randomly feel these sudden waves of like panic, chaotic relationships, random flashbacks. You're sort of like trying to walk through life while your brain is constantly in the past. And you have to learn how to manage it so that you can live a regular life. Now, the interesting thing about how it develops is it is caused by repeated traumatic things. So things like childhood abuse, people who grow up in war zones, people who grow up in like chaotic households, right? Stuff like that. And I'm very open about it because I know that it's something that I used to be really ashamed of. Like when I'm outside and I feel like people are staring at me. Right. Because when I was younger, it was way worse. So I started sharing about it because the thing that you hide, that's where shame comes from. It's like you're afraid to put it out there. But
that's right.
Because I put it out there, there's no insult somebody can throw at me. Right. Like, and by opening up about the most sensitive things I've been through, it allowed me to connect with people in a way where
that's good.
That polish, that pretty, that picture perfect speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that. I go into mental health organizations and I speak to people who are actively going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, they've come up to me and cried because they see that it's possible to get better. So
That's right.
that's one of the key reasons I love talking about it.
So you don't believe then that you should have to hide any parts of your story because that makes you be able to connect more with people that you'll be speaking to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like if you are talking to someone about how to believe in yourself more, how to manage your mental health, how to overcome challenges, the
Right.
first question they want to know is, well, what makes you qualified?
Right.
Like what makes you qualified to tell me how to deal with my problems?
Right.
What have
Right.
you been through? Like if your life had been cupcakes and rainbows, sunshine and roses all your life, you've never been through anything, you're not qualified to talk about mental health,
That's right.
even if you have a degree in it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
You
Even
might-
if you have a degree in it, that's a good point that you're making. Okay.
Yeah, because a textbook doesn't teach you reality.
That's right.
It doesn't teach you what does it feel like to not be able to make your bed despite not having any physical limitations. Like
Right.
your brain just won't let you. It doesn't teach you how to handle that.
That's good. That's really, really good. And I'm glad that you're because this some things just come from experience. And then based on that experience, that's why it's so important for people to use their gifts and their talents to salt the earth, because what gift and talent God gave you may be very different than someone else. And then people end up missing out because you're reserved in being able to share your talent with the rest of the world. So this is so helpful. Very, very helpful information. Now, when I'm thinking of this, I think about the fact that so many people tie their self-worth to what they've experienced. A lot of times, based on what I've been through, determines how worthy I am of being able to be at certain places in my life, is what I've heard people say. So how do you go about separating your own identity from the childhood traumas that you've experienced throughout your life?
Well, I constantly remind myself that one thing, like one event, doesn't define everything. You know, in a movie, you have an hour and 30 minutes of footage. People often replay the first 5 minutes.
That's right.
That's what it's like when we tie our entire self-worth to this one thing. To when I was 10 years old, this thing happened. When I was 5 years old, this thing happened. And
right.
It's understandable that if people go through something really traumatic, it has an impact.
Of course it does.
But that's what things like prayer, therapy, journaling, counseling, a support group, that's what that's for, to help you to realize that that one thing doesn't define everything else.
But how do people, I'm trying to determine, because from your perspective,
Like, how do they do it?
Yeah, how do people do that? Because it's
Okay.
easier said than done. But how do they really implement that? Doesn't define who I am. And I believe that philosophy, and I live by that philosophy. That's one incident in time.
Okay. So the way that I did it was personally through a whole lot of therapy and journaling.
Okay.
Because obviously a lot of people can't afford therapy.
Right.
So when you get a journal and you just write down your thoughts and you ask yourself questions like, well,
That's good.
who am I? Okay, well, am I the trauma? Like, is the trauma my name? No. So I'm not that. That happened. It was a thing. You know, it rained outside, but that doesn't mean that just because I got rained on one time, I have to always carry around an umbrella. And it's something that the more you remind yourself of this, the more you remind yourself that one day doesn't define every other day of your life. It might have an impact. It might still affect you, but it's not always that same day. Like, it's one of those things that you learn and figure out how to do by practicing it every day, of just saying today is a new day.
That's good. I'm typing this, but I put the wrong middle initial. So
I
journal
understand.
and write down your thoughts. And that's regardless of whether, and I'm just gonna put Lawrence.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna put that. So no matter what, just even if you're not able to get into therapy right away, according to what Lawrence is saying, journal and write down your thoughts. And what does that allow you the opportunity to do from your perspective?
So it teaches you something called metacognition. It's the ability to think about your thoughts without getting emotionally wrapped up into them.
Mm,
So noticing that I feel really stressed out right now and
mhm.
it's upsetting me, but just because I feel this, I don't have to act it out.
Okay.
I kid you not, journaling has saved people's lives because it
Mm.
teaches you how to slow down, think before you act.
Think before you act.
Another huge resource is it's an organization called NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They have free support groups. So if you have one in your town, you can just search NAMI in my town. They have free open doors.
Mhm.
No sign up required. You just show up. They also have Zoom meetings in case you're somebody who either cannot go in person, do not want to go in person. So the resources are out there, even though it may be hard to find them if you don't already know they exist.
This is good. Yeah. Okay. So I actually went and I pulled this up for you all. It's NAMI, NAMI.org. We
Yep.
obviously aren't getting any kickbacks or anything for this. So it's just a resource that Lawrence is sharing with you. You can do some things virtually if you don't want to go in person, but take advantage of these resources that are available to you. There's no reason to suffer on an island by yourself if you don't have to. And then earlier we were talking about CPTSD, and I want to make sure you know what that is.
Yes.
It's complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's a mental health condition that develops after prolonged repeated trauma such as chronic childhood abuse, domestic violence, in addition to traditional PTSD symptoms like flashbacks. So it's like you're having flashbacks, but it's like constant reminders of some of your past and dysregulation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
anyway, that's on Cleveland Clinic's site that I just grabbed that information from. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting to live with.
So yeah, okay. I can't even imagine, because there are so many people that are experiencing childhood trauma and overcoming that. But I'll look those statistics up as well. But what do you say to someone who feels like they are too broken? Because there are some people that feel like they're too far gone. And so therefore the future doesn't even matter because I'm too far gone.
You get to rebuild it. So you know how when you drop a vase and it's like all shattered and you look at it and you're like, the cracks are everywhere. I can't do anything about this. There's a art form. It's called kintsugi, where you take broken vases and you fill the cracks in with gold powder.
Mm.
So I kind of thought of myself in that way because when I was 15 and, I was nowhere near how I am today. I was afraid of everyone and everything. I did not trust people.
Right.
I looked at it as, okay, well, I feel like I'm too far gone. Like I felt as if I just couldn't be anything. But I would start to imagine, well, how would I treat somebody that I love? Like, how would I treat someone who I care about?
Right.
And I would start to treat myself that way through very little things. Like I would take a shower or I would make myself a meal. I would just start with where I am on that day. And with little things, it starts to remind you that, wait, I kind of do deserve this.
Right.
Like, I'm not some like super villain. I'm not terrible. I'm not this evil person.
Right.
And again, with journaling, you start to write this stuff down and you get it out of your head and on the paper, and you realize that
That's good.
not all of your thoughts are the truth.
That's
You
good.
ask yourself, well, where did that thought even come from? Oh, that's something that my dad said to me. So, am I going to allow the opinion of the people who hurt me to define the rest of my life? Or am I going to ask myself, how do I want to feel?
Right.
And then you start to treat yourself how you want to be treated.
Mm.
And you love the person in the mirror, even on the days when it feels hard to.
That's good. Okay, so I'm actually typing that. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated. So don't wait for somebody else. These are wonderful tips from Lawrence, everybody. Make sure that we're taking notes over here so you can definitely go back and later reference them, but make sure you treat yourself the way you want to be treated, not waiting for somebody else to treat you. So if you want to feel clean, then you take a shower. If you want to feel uplifted, then read a motivational book or read the Bible, whatever it is that's going to be more motivating to you, attending different events and things that are motivating to you. You don't have to wait for somebody else to validate you to make it be a part of who you are, correct?
Yeah.
That's good. Now, I do see some audience members' comments as well. James Ballard says, people only remember the one thing that you did wrong compared to all of the good that you've done. It takes a lot of convincing to make true believers out of people. Answer that if you want.
So, first off, right, with the phrase true believers, when I think of that, I think of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many miracles Jesus did and people still didn't believe he was Jesus?
Right.
If you saw somebody raise a dead person, if you saw somebody cure a blind person, feed 1,000 people with one fish, part an ocean, walk on water, and you still don't believe them, well, if people still didn't believe him, then of course they're not going to believe you, because you could do anything and somebody will still find the one thing you did wrong.
So what do you do when you're dealing with people like that? Any advice on how to kind of not cancel those people out, but just disregard what they're saying, because it can easily infiltrate into your spirit and start to make you feel a certain way if it's too much access to you for that to happen? Me
personally, I just remind myself a lot that when I die, I'm the only person in my casket.
Woo!
So we spend so much of our life trying to convince people to the story of Noah in the ark, right?
Right.
He spent 100 years trying to convince everybody, hey, the flood is coming, get on the boat. When the rain started coming down, he said, hey guys, the flood is here, get on the boat. They still didn't. And eventually you just have to board up the boat and say, if you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, you're not. But I can't keep trying to convince you. It's kind of a waste of time to try to convince everyone.
That's right.
Who you are. And instead you just have to let the ones who believe, let the ones who don't. Well,
you are inspiring me on this episode today, Lawrence. It's like, okay, believe it if you want, don't believe it if you want. Life is full of choices. Go on about your business. And I agree with you. And in this situation with Noah, we know that it was him, his family, and everyone that was on that boat that were the only living beings when everything washed out. Period.
Yeah.
So whether they wanted to believe, even though it had never rained, there was no sign of rain, and he looked kind of crazy out there to everybody. Those that did take a chance in believing what he was talking about survived.
Yeah.
So there's
the same way with, I was going to say, it's the same thing with us as people, where we try to convince other people of our worth. We try to convince other people that we're good enough, that we're worthy. And instead of trying to convince everyone else, we just have to, first of all, convince ourselves and say, hey, if you want to get on the boat, get on. But if you don't, you don't have to. It's your choice.
Right. And life is full of choices, and we have to choose wisely. That's why when people say, "Oh, I don't believe in God, I don't believe," that, and it's fine. I don't have any condemnation for any of those people as well. It's everybody can choose whatever you choose to hang your soul on. We all life is full of choices. I just choose to hang my soul on salvation, knowing that I have a higher being that's over me, so I can govern myself accordingly. But again, I don't it's up to you what you believe, and that's what I do believe people can choose, you know. So I also wanted to share that statistic too, that how many people actually live with CPTSD is roughly 500 million people worldwide, and they said that's between 1 and 8% of the global population according to the National Institutes of Health. Okay, just so y'all know, this is not, there's a lot of a rack of folk that's dealing with this worldwide. But when life pretty much tells us that repeatedly over and over and over that what you're saying, what you're doing does not matter, you're saying you do what to overcome that?
So for me, it's kind of like you have to be in your own bubble. So you, instead of focusing on the outside world so much, you have to deliberately learn to focus inside of you.
Okay.
Which early on, the way I did that was through journaling, and you got to turn off the TV sometimes. Like you have to block out the outside world's opinions.
Okay.
Because especially when the people that you're around, like family, friends, relationships, maybe even your husband or wife, it can even be like that.
Right.
Sometimes you have to love yourself enough to say, hey, I can't be around you no more. Like,
do you have to tell everybody that, or do you just stop doing it? Because that is it like a common courtesy to say, if this keeps happening, I'm going to choose not to be around you? Because that's the person I am. I would prefer to say that. But then other people feel like I don't have to tell you anything. I'm just going to start ghosting you and you'll figure it out. Which way do you think? It depends.
I would say it depends on the individual people. Because if it's somebody who they're just doing minor things, like, I don't know, maybe they make a joke about your hair. You could tell them like, hey, I don't appreciate when you make jokes about my hair. Like, right. That's a very small kind of thing.
Right.
Now, if you've told somebody before, I don't like when you do this, and they still keep doing it, you're allowed to just go. Like, because you've spoken your piece, you let it be known, you handled it respectful.
Right.
Now, if it's something major, like somebody putting their hands on you, or like something traumatic is going on, or this person is just like knowingly causing problems for you, you can just pack up and go.
You can just pack up and go. Somebody type that in the comment section. You can.
Because like people are smart enough to know when they're doing something outrageously bad to you. Like we can't make excuses that they just know. And one thing while I'm on this subject I want to touch on.
Go ahead.
You have to learn how to see the person as just a person. Mm-hmm. You have to learn to detach from, oh, but this is my mom. This is my dad. This is my best friend from 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. This is my whatever. You got to see him as just a person.
Okay.
If a person did this to me, would I stay around that person? No, I would not.
No.
That's what I did when I was like 17 and completely like blocked my dad out of my life. Because even though I don't hold any like hatred or anger or any of that towards them, I know that if a person did what he did, I would not have any dealing with that person. So when it comes to building up that self-worth, even when the world keeps tearing you down, you got to eliminate certain things. You got to stop going around certain people, listening to certain music.
That's good.
Also have to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, well, why do I feel this way? Like, why do I still have this hatred toward this person or this insecurity? What am I doing that's feeding this? What kind of changes do I need to make to help myself?
That's good. Okay. So it's looking inward and deciding what is it about me
Yeah.
that keeps allowing me to want to accept this type of behavior so that I can make those necessary changes within myself. And what can I do to look at this person not based on their title and who they are in my life, but what action they're exhibiting that is meriting this outcome for me to be better better protected myself. This is good.
Yeah.
This is really good. Okay.
That's something I learned through even the story of Jesus when he's on the Sermon on the Mount and everyone comes along and they say, "Hey Jesus, you know, your brothers and your mom and your sisters and all them, they're here." And he says, "My family are the people who move how I move."
Right.
And that was his mom. Like that was his actual mom. And he said, "You're not my mother. My family is the people who move how I move."
Believe in what I'm
Not
telling
anything against them, just
you. God.
you have to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Mm.
And you know that means that you gotta think, and like you just said, what part of me allowed that in?
Yes.
You might have to sit down and go, I've dated 3 people back to back, they've all been cheaters. Why? What did I see growing up? How were mom and dad treating each other?
Mm-hmm.
What's the music I'm listening to? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta dig deep, get honest, and look at those parts of yourself that's causing this pattern to happen.
Wow, good. That's takes a lot of internal investigation within yourself, just really understanding where you sit and what part we individually play in some of the outcomes that we receive in life. So I could talk to you all day, like literally all day. Okay, mental health conversations are becoming a lot more common, Lawrence, and many people still suffer in silence, even though it's a really public conversation that's happening. And why do you think it's so difficult for people to ask for the help that's needed from a mental health perspective?
So I'm gonna touch on that from multiple angles.
Okay.
So first off, the reason why, like in general, it's hard for people to ask for help is because nobody wants to look weak. Nobody wants to look in need. Nobody wants to look vulnerable. And when we focus it in on like men too, we get raised with this idea of boys don't cry, just suck it up, just tough it out. Like it's not that bad.
Right.
But then, you know, people get surprised when the suicide rate is 75% men. 75%.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start getting into like the real, like actual problems,
Right.
it's a heavy conversation no matter how you look at it, because on average throughout the world about 700,000 people commit suicide per year. It's more than that, but its average is around 700,000. And that goes into 1 every 43 seconds. And then when you start thinking about how we have been raised to avoid these conversations, the reason why so many people don't ask for help is because they get raised in environments where asking for help was not an option. Where you get told, oh, but that's your mom, that's your dad, that's this person, that's that person. And you, especially in the Black community too, we get told like that's family business.
Right. Keep it
But,
to
you know,
yourself. That's key. What happens in the house stays in the house, even if somebody in the house is violating somebody else's rights. And
yeah. That's why, like, only I was reading a study about this a few days ago, where only out of every 1,000 people who commit like sexual crimes against children, only 23 out of 1,000 ever go to prison, because 80% never speak up about it. And of the ones who do, they get told things like, no, that didn't happen. Right. And they blame the victim. Like the family blames the family,
right.
Like, it's not
Oh,
stranger to blame the victim, it's the family.
right. It's like, oh, you
They
know
don't
that
want
didn't
to.
happen. What did you do to be promiscuous as a 6-year-old to get uncle
Yeah.
such and such or aunt such and such to be violating your rights? You didn't do it. There's nothing you
Yeah.
could have
So
done.
that's why I'm like so big on the fact that when we have these conversations,
Mhm.
you got to be ready for it to get deep.
Yes.
And a lot of people, like, nothing against anyone, but most people don't have the words to have these conversations with
Right.
their children or with their family or with their friends. And
Mm.
that's why the internet is so great, because you can just ask a question such as, how do I talk to my teenager about mental health? And you can find like licensed, reputable, certified therapist,
Right. And
not
that's
just some
what people
random
need to
person
do.
off YouTube. You know, look
Right.
for verified sources.
That's what I 100% recommend, is that you get someone that's certified in that area to get the help that's needed. And according to RAIN.org, it says the vast majority of perpetrators will not go to jail or prison. 98% of perpetrators walk free. And so for every 1,000 sexual assaults, 50 reports lead to arrest, 28 cases lead to felony convictions, and only 25 are sentenced to incarceration. So whatever the discrepancy is out there as to who did what and why it happened, there are a lot of folk that's going free, and that is unacceptable in my opinion. And then you also mentioned about the suicide rate, and in 2025 alone in the United States, this is not a global statistic, according to AFSP, in the United States, preliminary figures indicate that roughly 48,000 to 49,000 people die by suicide annually. Now, according to the CDC data, there is more trending factors there that's more recent, but I just want to make sure that you know that what we're talking about here is necessary conversations. And as I've already said, you're going to have Lawrence as one of our Freestyle Friday experts. So on some Fridays in the near future here, he will be coming on and sharing more conversations like this. So if this is helpful to you all, please put it in the comments section and let us know that, Kim, this is the kind of stuff we need to see more of from the Kim Jacobs Show. And I'll be honored to make sure we provide this kind of content. Speaking of which, I do want to take a moment to encourage you, if you have not already, become a supporter of the Kim Jacobs Show. The only way we're able to keep our content coming into your house every day during the week is by having community contributions from community members like yourself. So if you would be kind enough to sow into our broadcast, we'd greatly appreciate it. And if you do it while we're live, I'll go ahead and send a shout out to you as well. And each week I'll be providing just a list of some of our recent contributors. And speaking of which, you were a contributor, Lawrence. I saw that. I was like, hey, Lawrence contributed to the broadcast. I don't charge my guests to be on this platform at all, but I saw that you sent in a donation. I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So what are some of the unhealthy, I have so many questions, but what are some of the unhealthy coping mechanisms that you've had to overcome to get like healthier habits that you replace them with?
16-hour screen times. Ooh, that was a big one.
Okay. Screen time on what? Like what type of screen? Was it video games or
Instagram, screen time, Instagram, YouTube, Xbox, everything.
Oh, you know what? Because it does, the screen tells me how many hours I spend in a given week. And so that's what you're talking about when you get that notification?
Yep.
Oh, here, go ahead. You take your time. I'm gonna get you down for a second while he's clearing his throat back there. Let me go ahead and take a moment to let you know that our episode is sponsored today by Pamela Hankins, and that's with P. Hankins LLC. If you visit phankins.com, you can get registered for an upcoming event that she is hosting in the Massanutten Resort. Beautiful Shenandoah Resort area. You don't want to miss the opportunity in October to be a part of the Week 40 Transformative Experience. And it's taking place at Massanutten Resort and October 2nd and 3rd. Husband and wives You and your significant others can come and be a part of that experience together. And guess what? While the women are in the week 40 transformative experience, the men are over golfing. And so you are going to have a tremendous time. Again, that's phankins.com. Make sure that you say that the Kim Jacobs Show referred you, and all you have to do is use the code The Kim Jacobs Show. So I want to thank Pamela Hankins for being today's episode sponsor. All right, you give me a thumbs up back there when you're ready to come back in. All right, and again, today's episode is sponsored by P. Hankins LLC, and I'm going to put her flyer up as well so that you'll be able to know exactly where to go to register for the event. You can scan that QR code. Right now, it's early bird registration for the week 40 Transform Your Life Experience. You scan that QR code, you're going to get a discounted rate of $237 and $287. And it's all of the details are on phankins.com. All right. Woo! Let's keep on talking. So what did
This
you
is going great.
Huh?
This is going great. I was saying another unhealthy coping skill I had to, overcome was how do I explain this? Just constantly distracting myself, doom scrolling all day, trying to chase after people. I was a mess back then.
Well, Hiawatha, thank you so much, Hiawatha, for being here today. She said, this is some good teaching. That's why I'm telling you, share this on all of your social media platforms. Don't deprive young people from the opportunity to learn from another young person, 20 years old, sharing this level of wisdom. Hiawatha also says,
because there's a stigma attached to it. Oh, yeah.
She said,
no, we get...
People avoid, let me read it out too, only because I have audio listeners on iHeartRadio, WDRB Media. If y'all have not tuned in on Saturday nights at 9 p.m., WDRB Media is where the Kim Jacobs Show is, a nationally syndicated radio broadcast. People avoid seeking mental health because there's a stigma attached to it. Talk to us.
Oh, that's huge. Because when people hear the word mental health, a lot of them, their mind go to the most extreme of the extreme. They start thinking about people who are addicts or people who are in a mental institution or people who are just a danger to themselves and everyone around them.
That's right.
So that stigma really comes from people's misunderstanding.
So if people misunderstand, sometimes people intentionally misunderstand because they want to,
yeah.
And they realize that there's something going on different about you, but they don't want to deal with it. So instead, they usually sometimes will bully or will make you feel less than. And so when you're dealing with people like that, what can you do to overcome that? You just have to do what you said, pack up and go.
Yeah, sometimes there are certain people who are just unaware, they just simply don't know.
Right.
Those are ones who, if they're open to learning, you can explain things to them.
Right.
But then you have people who are just dead set in their ways. They refuse to listen. They refuse to be open or learn.
Yes.
Those are ones where you just pack up and go. You don't even try to fit in with them. You find your people.
Find your people. Somebody type that. Don't worry about trying to fit in with everybody else. Find your people. And it's okay because there are some people out there for you. And as my mom's in her 70s, she typed her Lawrence. You can just pack up and go. Thank you for making that note, Mom.
Thank you.
She's been our receptionist.
I appreciate it.
Dr. Tina J. Ramsey is here, and she actually does homeschooling and has a significant platform with gobs of books and teaching people about podcasting. You name it. She has a program, CTR Media Network. And this program, Lawrence, is going to stream in 140 countries. So your message is going to go a lot of places on CTR Media Network. If you all have not downloaded the CTR Media Network app on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Do that today. You can find the Kim Jacobs Show right under the self-improvement channel. And thank you to the 70-something thousand people that tuned in last month to help us receive number 2 in our award. So thank you. All right. So when someone is overwhelmed by anxiety and those painful memories, what's one step they can start doing today, right now?
One thing I tell people to do beyond journaling, because there's going to be some time where you do not want to get that pen and paper out. If possible, do some sort of physical movement, like go for a walk, jumping jacks, push-ups, yoga, hit the gym. Because on a chemical level, what anxiety is, it's your brain releasing the chemicals that cause you to feel like fight or flight. It's called adrenaline.
Yes.
Now you need to redirect that energy to something. Some people, what they do is they make music.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they do physical exercise. Some people, they pray. Some people, they take a deep breath. It's all about figuring out what works for you.
Yeah.
And just try things out. And once you find something, stick with it.
That's good. Yeah. And for me, like walking with my oldest son, we do this literally now. It's something we do pretty much every day. And I can't wait to get home, throw my stuff on real quick and go for this walk. And it gives us just a chance to unwind and to talk and just share stuff that we may be going through in life. And that's just one of our ways that we connect, because he doesn't do a lot out in the public, but that's just one of the ways that we've been able to connect very well. So finding that thing that you enjoy doing. I enjoy going to the library. I love going to the library. And so it's something I enjoy. And for other people to be like, what are you talking about? Go sit in the library and do what? It's like, okay, well then don't go to the library. It's just something I might like doing, you know?
Yeah.
So finding those things. What are some of the things in the studio audience that you enjoy doing? I enjoy roller skating, but nobody wants to go with me because I fell one time.
Like,
what do you enjoy doing outside of wanting your bucket list thing to go to Vietnam? I heard. What else do you enjoy doing?
I have to find out about that.
I am gifted. Hey,
I said that like 2 days ago. But yeah,
I know really some things, Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that caught me off so off guard. But the thing that really helps me to calm down when I'm stressed is I love going fishing.
Okay.
Like, to my family, it doesn't make any sense, but spending 10 hours sitting, just doing nothing, swinging a rod back and forth, catching fish, it's so peaceful to me.
Okay. My daughter loves that. My daughter and my son too. They went out onto Lake Norman, and one time I saw them like trying to get back, and they had a hole in their boat, but I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what is happening? This is something off of a movie. That's why I don't go there. But it's relaxing typically.
Yeah, most of the time, as long as nothing like that happens, it's very peaceful.
Good.
Other things I love doing is music. I have very diverse music taste. So just feeling however you feel in that moment, mm-hmm. and just enjoying life, because sometimes we need to sit down and just remind ourselves that my life isn't that bad.
Right. Just existing and being. I enjoy going to the movies too, Lawrence. So I used to go to the movies all the time with someone, but now in my 50s, I've been going by myself sometimes. Well, I did jump into the arms of another person sitting beside me that I didn't know. So I had to apologize to the lady and I guess her husband. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to being with somebody in the movies that I actually jumped on the person.
Ow.
It was really weird. Okay. Anyway, so people don't understand autism because of the stereotypes and things, but you speak openly about it. What do you wish people knew that often they get wrong when it comes to autism?
We're not just the stereotypes, because when people think of that, they think either somebody who can't function or somebody like you ever seen Big Bang Theory?
Yes.
Sheldon Cooper.
Mhm.
Those are the two things that people think of.
Right.
But what it really is just your brain works differently. Such as you might have challenges with certain places like sounds,
Mhm.
certain fabric and textures. Like your brain is just very sensitive to things. And it's not a spectrum where you're more or less. It's more like a giant color wheel, and you might struggle with sounds and textures and communication, but you're really good at math. Or
Right.
you might have trouble with math, but you're really good at something else. And when we learn how to use the way our brain works and we put it towards something beneficial, we get really good at it.
That's right.
Like the reason why I can talk for hours about the stuff I talk about is because I love doing it. Like I love psychology, all of this stuff is just the thing that envelops how I feel.
That's good.
So the biggest takeaway for people is that autism isn't just some stereotype, it's really just your brain works different. And again, with the internet, if you want to find resources, like you might have questions,
Mhm.
you can find trained professional people who talk about this stuff.
That's right. That's right. They're on every city and every country. You're going to find a specialist that can help in that area and that understands and can relate to you if that's something that you are dealing with. And autism, according to this is Wikipedia, it's a complex neurodevelopmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts, and processes the world. It's called a spectrum because of the traits and how much they vary. They vary widely from individuals who live independently to those that require very substantial daily support. So you cannot just stereotype a person that has autism. I have in my own family people that have autism and have been diagnosed with it on the spectrum. Very different behaviors. I consider it more like different abilities. I don't consider it disabilities. I just feel like we
Yeah.
have some differences in life, but you make adjustments to how that person needs you to be there for them. Is that how you
Yeah.
feel?
Because I actually saw this video, this guy who's nonverbal, so he can't talk,
Mm.
but he can perfectly imitate the sound of birds. Like he can perfectly make the sound of like 100 different types of birds,
Oh wow.
but he can't talk.
Okay.
And things like that are perfect examples of how you can't judge somebody by their label.
Mm.
Saying that all people with autism act the same, it's the same thing as saying all people of a certain race act the same, or all people from a certain city act the same, or all people of a certain age group act the same. You can't really do that. It's such a overgeneralization that if you said to somebody, everyone who is 25 years old is dumb, immature, and drinks.
Mm.
No, they're
Right.
not. I know 25-year-olds who are in Harvard becoming med students.
Right. Oh my gosh. So you cannot stereotype or clump everybody into one category because that wouldn't be fair. And so that's the same thing when it comes to with autism. And I love the fact that I believe that that's helped shape how you're leading and building and developing and just really being on this journey of purpose of what God has for you. Social media, I'm going to bring closure to this because I could ask a lot of questions, but social media constantly tells young people who they should be and how they should discover themselves. How do you really think young people, your age category, can really truly discover who they are for real, not based on what social media or even their parents or the church or anybody's telling them to be? How do you think they can discover who they are?
You stop trying to discover it and you start to uncover it. So all of these shoulds, all of these you should be
Whew.
this, all of these you should have this certain career, and act this way and talk this way and dress this way and look this way. These are like stacking layers on top of your truth and who you really are. And who you really are is something that you figure out by questioning everything. Like, you have to be open to questioning everything. Like, do I really want to go to college for this thing?
Right.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if you realize that you don't actually want to do that, you just took a layer off. Do
Right.
I actually want to play basketball and go to the NBA, or is that just because I was told I should? I don't. You take another layer off, and eventually you get to this core of this is true.
Mhm.
It's a feeling of I don't have to be anyone.
No.
You see me at a movie theater, I'm one person. You see me at a speech, I'm the same person.
Same
You
person.
see me on a date, I'm the same person.
Same person.
You see me at a funeral, I'm the same person. It's like you get Lawrence wherever Lawrence is. Now, of course, you might tweak a few little things about like the wording that you use with somebody, or you might be a little bit more kind-hearted if you're talking to a child,
Of course.
but you're still the same person. And because, like you mentioned, young people are constantly getting told, you should have this car. You should date this kind of man or date this kind of woman.
right.
You should have this certain career. You should do this. You should do that. We have to step back from it, question it, and figure out, is that actually what I want or is it not?
Good.
And when you get to that point, it's as if like people will start to call you weird because you don't want what they want. Like I've seen people who have like really nice cars, and they'll start telling me about their car and how great their car is, and they
Right.
ask me, well, what do you think of it? And I say, I mean, it's a car. Like it's a car.
Right.
Or people who like have nice watches. And I mean, it's a cool watch, but it's a watch.
Right.
It's a thing. And you stop needing to put it on you because your truth is something that's in you,
Mm.
and you let it radiate out. You let it shine. So the more that we're trying to find ourselves, the more lost you become because you don't go find it. You look
Are
inside
it.
and realize like, oh, it was there the whole time.
The whole time, everything I needed was right inside of me. Oh, okay. So parents, what advice would you give parents that are watching this show is about how people balance their lives, what they've had to overcome to become who they are today? Parents are struggling dealing with teenage children that they're raising. What advice would you give them that's dealing with a struggling teenager? And then that's
Well,
the size of it.
The first thing that I would say is, and obviously I don't have kids, so take this as respectful as possible, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Like,
Right.
were you a perfect delight when you were 16?
What?
Like were you the perfect child as a teenager?
Okay.
No, I wasn't perfect. I was
Better watch yourself over there. What?
I was doing this, I was doing that when I was my kid's age. Okay, so because you were not perfect at your teen's age, you can't hold them to the standard of perfection.
Right.
You got to remind yourself that when I was their age, my parents told me, don't do this, don't do that, and I still did it. So I can't try to make my kid perfect.
Right.
Then the second thing is understand that your child, even though they're your child, as a teenager, they want their sense of autonomy. Like they don't want to feel like you're trying to control everything. So you have to be open to letting them have an opinion. Because when I speak at schools and organizations, teens come up to me and they tell me a lot that they feel like their parent don't let them have an opinion.
Mm.
And because they feel trapped by their parents' expectations,
Right.
they act out to feel free.
Mm.
So the more that you try to restrict them and try to be over controlling, the more they'll push back because nobody wants to feel controlled. So you have to be open to treating them maturely and treating them like they're not a child anymore, and instead as someone who is an adult in training.
Wow. Okay. Y'all, we're getting ready to close out here in a second. I wanted to just give this to, like, we're going to close out in 5 minutes, but I wanted you to get to hear the closeout from this young man, and then so you can see his speaker demo reel if you're ever interested in just bringing him in as a speaker in your local, in one of your local events, wherever you are around the country. You take care of his hotel and his travel, and you can work out the details with him. Again, I'm being over here being his agent, but
I appreciate it.
You definitely can book him, and I will. Wait a minute, I'm going to start this because I want people to see the fullness of what you offer. All right, y'all, let's see here. We'll put this up, and I want you to hear from Lawrence as we prepare to get ready to close out here. Here we go.
I refuse to allow anyone to believe they're not good enough. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lawrence Harris. I'm an author, coach, and public speaker who specializes in helping teens and young adults overcome their limiting beliefs in order to finally begin living and not just surviving. With over 3 years of experience speaking to churches, nonprofits, as well as on stage, I've been able to leave an impact on countless young people's lives, helping them to realize that nothing in this world can hold you back except your own mind. In addition to my career speaking, I've been able to leave a lasting impact through my books, which offer actionable steps, guidance, and advice on not only how to overcome self-doubt, limiting beliefs, as well as how to begin living the life of your dreams. I used to feel like a dog trapped in a cage, and my mission is to help you to break free of that mental cage of fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs about not being good enough. In addition to being a living representation of everything I teach, not only have I been able to break my own limiting beliefs, but one of my coaching clients, Daz, said that I helped him to create a new perspective where he can now see the wealth in his everyday experiences beyond material wealth. When you're ready for your organization, your students, your community to begin breaking free of that mental cage of limiting beliefs, self-doubt, and the fear of not being good enough, let's get in contact and change their life. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 18 when I made that.
Wow. You were 18 and you're 20 now, and look at God.
Yeah, I started this out when I was like 15 and 16, volunteering at random places.
Wow. Lawrence, I can't even imagine what the future for, there is no limit to what God is going to do in your life. So as we prepare to close out, I've seen so many comments. I know I didn't get to go to every single comment, but my mom said, find your people. She said, find your people. Hiawatha said, find your people, which is what you told us. And then Bear Burns said, hey, Lawrence. Hey, Lawrence.
Let me go through my end too.
Okay. And then my mom said, I believe that every individual should be the person that they want to be, who they want to be and to become. Go ahead. Say some people over there on Instagram.
Oh, yes. We definitely need that because that just made me think about something, right? The whole idea of trying to find ourselves again and like all the things that we get told we should do and should be. Mm-hmm. You're the only person that has to live with the consequences of your actions. Like when you wake up, you have to wake up with yourself. When you go to bed, you have to go to bed with yourself. And I've met people who they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They got the big house, the big car, the family, the everything. Like they got it all from the outside looking in. Right. But inside they're miserable because that's not the life they wanted. It's what their parents wanted.
Well, Lawrence, you have dropped knowledge that most people that go and pay thousands upon thousands of dollars at conferences would be honored to have attended that particular event, and they got it right here on the Kim Jacobs Show as a gift into their household, right from the comfort of their home. So thank you. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be known for when you finally continue to grow and go on in life? What do you want to be known for?
I want to be known as somebody who helped other people know that they matter. It's like, I don't want people to prop me up on no pedestal. I prop myself up enough. I want people to start propping themselves up and realize, like, wait, I don't have to be what the world wants. I just gotta be me. Don't commit any crimes. Of course, there's like morals and legals. Don't take this to the extreme. I'm not saying that you should go rob a bank just because that's what you want to do. No, don't commit crimes, but be somebody who you're proud of and be somebody who's living a life that you wake up and enjoy, and be someone that you can look in the mirror at all the good things you've done, all the bad you've done, and say, yeah, I did that. And not be afraid of your own reflection.
Not be afraid of your own reflection. Listen, if you're dealing with any type of suicidal thoughts, ideations, make sure that you reach out. 988 in the United States. And of course, this is in 140 countries. So every country has their own suicide prevention hotline. Make sure that you take a moment, and even if you have to call anonymously, but make sure you take a moment to get the help that would be needed. Wow, you are someone that people will remember for, I know just from this episode alone, you're somebody that's helped every person tuning into today's episode become a better version of themselves, all because they're hearing Lawrence C. Harris. So thank you for being my guest today. How do people get a copy of your newest books? Because these are books that you just recently came out with. This new one, tell people the name of the book and how they
that one is called Think, Feel, Live Different. Plain and simple. When you change the way you think, you start to feel different. And because you feel different, you start to live different. If you want to make some major change in your life, such as somebody wants to go from making $55,000 to $60,000, that's simple. That's just put in a couple extra hours. But if you're trying to make some like big thing, like you want to go from 20,000 to 80,000, that's a whole different mindset and a whole different way of operating. That's the kind of people I wrote that book for. Either teens or young adults, or it also applies to people older who are trying to make big changes in how you think, the way you feel about yourself, and the way you live. And you can get a copy of that on my website, lawrencecharris.com, or Amazon under Think, Feel, Live Different by Lawrence C. Harris.
That's excellent. And then there's a few other books as well.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them.
Yeah, you have a whole lot of books over there. So
yeah,
you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to share the screen, because I want people to know when you go to visit lawrencecharris.com, you're going to see, this is his website. I'm big on visual. So you're going to have
a little bit of everything for everybody.
Warm, inviting intro, welcoming you to his website, talking about him going beyond motivation. The video that you just saw that I shared with you, lots of quotes and different things. But I want you to go over here to the shop, to the store, and let's see if that came up. Yeah, that came up. Okay, so the store is where you will be able to see the books that he has. Talk to us about these books again, so people know exactly where to go.
Now, Think, Feel, Live Different, I got that on sale until July 4th. Once July 4th hits, prices are going up on that.
Okay. And what, the price is only $5?
Yeah, right now I'm like, come on, everybody got $5.
Come on.
Support a brother. I got rent to pay.
Everybody, get a copy of Think, Feel, Live Different, Change Your Mind for only $5. It's an ebook, and it's going to change your life. You've heard him today.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, like the stuff I did, like everything I talk about, the stuff that took me from being 14 years old, super insecure, to who I am now, it's in that book. The stuff that took me from like feeling really worthless to confident, in that book. changing your habits in that book, I'm telling you, it will really, it doesn't just apply to one area of your life. It goes into how to actually believe in yourself.
And you can donate a copy of this book. It's an ebook. Can you provide different email addresses for the ebook to be delivered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the story of your life, that one is a journal of 111 prompts where once you answer those questions, you're going to get to know yourself so much more deeply. Like, what are you proud of about yourself? Why? What's your biggest insecurity? And who taught you that? Because the things you're insecure of, you weren't born thinking that. It came from somewhere. And when you identify where it came from, you're able to start changing it and you're able to start rebuilding it. You got to sometimes look at the good and the bad to get better.
Absolutely.
107 quotes to live by. From the age of 18 until 20, I was taking down quotes of things I've heard. Like, I used to work in a lot of different jobs, door-to-door sales, McDonald's. I went to a bunch of conferences, stuff I've said in YouTube videos. It's 107 quotes with explanations of what they mean and how to apply them to your life. Got stuff on mental health in there, got stuff on habits, little bit of everything that I've learned throughout my life. Those are the most recent 3.
Wow. Okay, so listen, y'all, we put ways that you can stay connected, but I want to make sure we put it up here. All you have to do is go to lawrencecharris.com, get a copy of each of those books, and gift a copy to someone else. Go make sure that he is out of stock today, and tell everybody you know to get a copy of this book, to give it as a graduation gift to all of these young people that are getting ready to go to college. I know that I'll be gifting this to my daughter who's getting ready to go to college, so she has some tools in her tool bag to be able to work from. So thank you. My mom said, hey, Kim, my mom's like, I'm using this to tell you, get my book, please. Get my book.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, Mom. I'll make sure you get your book today. All right. Anybody else that plans on getting a book, make sure you put it in the comment section. All you have to do is go to lawrencecharris.com, lawrencecharris.com. All right. That is
Great
definitely today's episode. How do people stay connected with you, Lawrence?
I'm very easy to find. So as you can see on the screen, YouTube and Instagram are Lawrence C. Empowers. Now, if you happen to be looking for a podcast guest, speaker for a high school mental health organization or youth organization, Lawrence at lawrencecharris.com. It is all just my name. Very easy to find.
Lawrence at lawrencecharris.com. Okay, so if you are looking to book Lawrence for an upcoming event, then make sure you email Lawrence at lawrencecharris.com. 1 S, right? Harris.
Yep, 1 S.
Okay. Lawrence at lawrencecharris.com. Book them for one of your upcoming next events at your church, at your school, at your nonprofit organization. Make sure that you book Lawrence C. Harris, and I promise you, you won't regret it. All right.
You're going to love it.
All right, everybody. Listen, that is today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. And thank you, Lawrence C. Harris, for allowing us to do that today with you as my special guest. God bless every single one of you. You're going to hear a lot more from Lawrence here on the Kim Jacobs Show because he's one of our Freestyle Friday experts now. All right. Any closing comment, Lawrence? We're going to close out.
Get to know who you are. Like, stop worrying about trying to impress everyone else. Just impress yourself. That's the thing I want to leave people with.
Impress yourself, y'all, for once. How about you like you and be proud of who God created you to be? All right. On that note, I love you all. Love you, Lawrence. And I feel like even though I have 5 children, because I do have 5 children over here, I could probably add you to the picture because I have a special affinity towards you over there. So glad that we've made each other's acquaintance. God bless you all. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.